Hello and welcome to Big Orbit's Cardfight Vanguard weekly update. My name is James and today I'll be going through the cards shown throughout the past 7 days. Starting off we have the Triple R for Megacolony, the Grade 2 Spear Attack Mutant Megalara Lancer. He has Auto Rearguard Circle. When it attacks a Vanguard, this unit gets plus 2000 power until the end of the battle for each of your opponent's rest rearguards. Then cost, put a rearguard into your soul, and your opponent cannot intercept until the end of the turn. It can get up to plus 10k free power against Force and Protect, and even more against XL. You can also put a card that will Butterfly Officer into the soul, and you still get the counter charge at the end of the turn. The putting into the soul can be generally good, as the mill side of Megacolony does suffer from using up a lot of soul. It doesn't seem to be the most impactful card, but it doesn't use any fuel that would otherwise be used up by a lot of the rest of your deck, and it even fills your soul. The last card for Megacolony is Dressing Mutant Argabil. She's a grade 2 with 8000 power and has continuous rearguard circle during the battle that it attacked a Vanguard. If your opponent's card was put from the deck to the drop zone this turn, when your opponent would call Guardians from his or her hand, he or she must call 2 or more at the same time. Yet again, pretty good for free, and with the extra drives from gunning Colio, you can make this a pretty deadly card. Tachikaze get a double R with Savage Academian. She's another 8k grade 2 and has Act Rearguard Circle, cost Soul Blast 1, rest this unit, and call up to one of this unit's equipped gauges to Rearguard Circle. Resting it for another Rearguard is pretty good cost and pretty fair, but there isn't much main phase retiring in the clan, so she may end up being a useless rested unit for the rest of the turn, unless you have 3 gauges on her and you can stand her back up with the VR. Finally, for this extra booster, we have Spike Brothers Double R Grade 3, Gun Wild Wolf. His skill is Auto Vanguard Circle, Rearguard Circle. When it attacks, Soul Blast 3 Grade 3s and put any number of rearguards on the bottom of your deck in any order. Until the end of the battle, when your opponent would call cards from his or her hand to Guardian Circle, he or she must call the same number of cards or more as the number of cards put onto the bottom of the deck for this cost. So you are losing a lot, but your opponent may end up having to guard with 5 cards to guard this attack, which will likely be the end if you pull it off. Of course, the downside is a huge cost, but with General Seyfried, you can rate the soul by playing grade 3s and putting them into the soul through Seyfried's skill. Onto some trial deck cards. For the upcoming Genesis trial deck, we have the 6k grade 1 Ambrosial Snake. This skill is very simple and is Act Rearguard Circle. Once per turn, costs Soul Blast 5. You get an imaginary gift force and put it on your Vanguard Circle. It's a big cost, but naturally with Genesis you can lessen the cost, and it being an act is actually really useful. Parthenos of Holy Verse is a grade 2 with Auto Rearguard Circle. When it attacks while boosted, cost counter plus 1 if your Vanguard is a Star Chanter, get an imaginary gift force, and put that marker on your Vanguard Circle. The main grade 3 of the trial deck is a Star Chanter, and this is a really cheap way to get to the threshold to create your Astral Plane. Diana of Moonlight is a grade 1 with Auto Rearguard Circle. When you attack it boosted hits, cost counter plus 1, Soul Blast 1, get an imaginary gift force, and put a marker on your Vanguard Circle. And if your Vanguard is a Star Chanter, countercharge 1. So by boosting the grade 2 we just saw, you can get 2 Force gifts for a Counterblast and a Soul Blast. With the downside being you have to give it to your Vanguard and nothing else. So you'll have one huge attack, but your rearguards aren't going to be much of a threat. To break away from the gift gaining, Genesis also get the grade 3 Perseus of Moral Right. His skill is Auto Vanguard Circle, Rearguard Circle. When it attacks a Vanguard, cost Counterblast 1, draw 2 cards, and put a card from your hand into your soul. A pretty nice backup if you want specific cards in your soul, which may prove useful in the future if they have Soul Blast grade 3 costs. But he's not a Star Chanter, so he most likely won't be found in the Uranus build once the booster set comes out. We also have a handful of promos this week, the first one being the grade 2 version of Pongol for Royal Paladin with Dire Connect Dragon. Its skill is Auto Rearguard Circle. When placed, if you have another unit in the same column as this unit, Soul Charge 1. If a trigger unit was put into the soul through this unit gets plus 10,000 power to the end of the turn. So it's like Pongol, but we'll get a little bit more power from the soul charging. Very useful for the Soul Saver Dragon build. For Pale Moon, we have Double-Headed Unicorn. It's a grade 2 with Auto. When it is put into your soul from Rearguard Circle, due to your Vanguard's ability, cost counter plus 1, call a card from your hand to Rearguard Circle, and that called unit gets plus 5,000 power to the end of the turn. It allows for an even longer chain of attacks, and not having to completely rely on your soul for extra attacks is very nice, especially for units that need to be called from the hand like Misdirection. Dimension Police get Vermin Disposer. This is a grade 0 and has Act Drop Zone. If your damage zone has 5 cards, cost counter plus 1 and returning this card to your hand. Needing to be near death is never good, but it also has Auto Rearguard Circle when placed. If your Vanguard's power is 35,000 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 power until the end of the turn. It does come a 20k booster on attack, but it's likely it says until the end of the turn because you're close to death anyway. Stealth Beast Kunji Kitenko is a new Batama card with Auto Rearguard Circle. When the attack boosted hits the Vanguard, cost counter plus 1 and return this card to your hand. I don't think this is great, but if there's one clan that's going to benefit from the bounce, it's Nupatama. Very lastly for the week, we have Genesis Grade 2, Witch of Amulets Linden. She has Act, Rearguard Circle, cost Counterblast 2, Sword Blast 2. You get an imaginary gift force and put that marker on your Vanguard Circle. This is a heavy cost, even though you can reduce the Sword Blast to 0 pretty easily. Counterblast 2 is still big for something you can do much cheaper in the trial deck. And that's everything for this week. Be sure to check out next week when I'll be going through the cards shown throughout the next 7 days, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!